Hello all, welcome to DevOps Tricky channel. In this channel, mostly we are covering all the DevOps related content, conceptual and both scenario based and interview based as well, and sharing my experience from my current project in my current organization. So till now we covered the Git, Docker, shell script, and as part of Docker we covered in last video. I will upload that previous video related to CMD and entry point. That is part 1 video, and this is part 2 video. I tried to cover both in one video about the CMD versus entry point, but while explaining I just had 20 minutes of time, so I am making this part 2 video for CMD and entry point. So if you guys went through previous video, there I discussed about at what time this CMD will come into picture in the Docker file, and what is entry point, what are the differences between these two. So in part 1 completely I discussed about entry point. So if there are couple of entry point instructions in what Docker file, what is the expected output? If there are any argument passed at the time of Docker runtime, then what is the expected output? If there are couple of entry points during the entry runtime, if we pass argument, what is the expected output? In part 1 we discussed about the entry point. So now I want to discuss about CMD with you guys. In the part 1 we have introduction about the CMD. At the time of container start time only this CMD instructions will execute, and CMD we can override. If you pass arguments during the runtime, it can be override. If there are any couple of instructions, CMD instructions there in Docker file, which instruction will be executed during the runtime, all this basic instruction stuff we discussed there. So now in this part 2 I will cover by writing sample Docker file with the CMD instructions with a scenario based, like in entry point we discuss, like if there are a couple of entry points, what will be the expected output? If argument passed during the runtime, what will be the expected output? Like that we will discuss about this CMD as well. So in this case I will explain. If we pass n number of CMD instructions in Docker file, only last CMD instruction will execute. So with the statement you can't understand, that's I am aware. So I will come here with writing one Docker file. So I will write here from Ubuntu latest I am taking. So here I will use CMD. CMD here I am printing echo. Here also I am taking the same example. First and second I am taking, what happened? So here I am taking this second instruction, second argument for the second instruction, and here I am taking third. So this is I am passing as arguments in the CMD construction, CMD instructions. Now I want to run my image name. If I execute this command, if I execute, what is the expected output, guys? As from our conceptual discussion, if we pass a number of CMD instructions in Docker file, only last CMD will execute it. That is expected output is third one. So we can discuss, we can see this in Chatgpt. As per our my commitment with you guys, like I will prove the expected output from our conceptual knowledge, right, with the help of ChatGPT. So here I am giving what is the expected output for this Docker file. So from our conceptual knowledge, from our expectations, the output must be what, guys? Third only, because if there are couple of CMD instructions, only the output must be a last CMD instruction. So we'll see here, is it correct or not. See here, only the last CMD instruction takes effect in Docker file, that is third. Expected output is that. This one clear, right? Hope this is clear. So coming to next scenario, if we pass any arguments during runtime, then what will happen? If we pass any arguments during the runtime, then what will happen? CMD instruction will override with the argument. So I will write basic Docker file with respect to this one. So same, I am taking here the Docker file, but for your easy understanding, I will change the names. Here I am taking one entry point as well, because I want to explain you guys with the entry point as well. So here entry point I am taking my name only, Sirisha, and CMD I am taking different one, like I want to print Jajam MTech. So in this Docker file, I took entry point and CMD instruction as well. So here what you will get expected output if I run Docker run, I'm taking image. Suppose it might be Ubuntu or something, it will take. Just for your understanding, I am writing here my image only. Here in this scenario, I need to pass the argument, right? During runtime, if any CMD instruction will override the argument. So here I am passing software engineer. So here one more point as well I will add here, guys, like if any argument pass during the runtime, then that argument will be taken by CMD only. If there are entry point and CMD instructions there in Docker file, if any argument has passed, then that argument will be override for the CMD. So here the expected output, what, guys? If we pass any arguments during runtime, then CMD instruction will override with the argument. So as usual, here only one entry point is there, one CMD is there. If there are two entry points, then last entry point will execute. So but here only one entry point is there, then that instruction I am writing. That's clear, right, till now? So here during the runtime, I passed one argument like software engineer. So it will override the CMD instruction. Here what is the CMD instruction? Charge MTech. So it will override by software engineer. This is about the second one. So we correct or not with our conceptual knowledge? Is our expected output correct or not? I will ask ChatGPT. So I am taking another one, because why I am using new ChatGPT means already I given this Docker file, right? So it will confuse us with the old instruction. So I am taking another window. What is the expected output for this Docker file, right? So I'm asking ChatGPT, is our expectations correct or not? See here. It means final command is Sirisha software engineer. Are we correct, guys? What we guessed? What is our expected output? Sirisha software engineer. What is this ChatGPT also giving us? Sirisha software engineer. So here we covered one more scenario as well. If there are entry point and CMD, if the argument is passed, then CMD will be override. From here we can conclude that CMD is override. Entry point we can't override. Hope it's clear, right? So here I will go with one more scenario as well. If we write CMD, if we write a CMD and entry point, both will get as output if there are no arguments during runtime. So we'll see what is exactly it's meant for. So I'm copying this docker file which I written just now in front of you guys only I written, right? So here I'm taking from entry point Sirisha. Here I will take one more entry point as well. See, it's covering one more scenario. Here I am giving Jajam and here I am giving corporate employee. I'm giving here. Here I am giving in MNC. So we'll see what here it will print. Here in this case, you need to recall all the things, guys, all the scenarios. Like here, there are couple of entry points instructions there, couple of CMD instructions there, but I am not passing any argument. Then what is your expected output? Everyone will tell basic difference between CMD and entry point, but if you explain with this scenario, then it will be very useful not only for the interview perspective, for your real time projects as well, if you got any requirement to write the docker file. So what is the expected output? Immediately you can't give answers, right? By understanding only you will give correct answer. It's not important to give immediate answer, it's important to give correct answer with your correct understanding. So here couple of entry point is there, couple of CMD is there. What is the expected output it will give? It will give only the last instruction if there are no arguments, sorry. Then what is the expected output here? Jajam in MNC. So here I will give one more working. I'm just passing one more argument. So what is expected? Jajam working in MNC. This is expected output, guys. Correct? So I will give this scenario to ChatGPT. What is the expected output for this Docker file? We are writing simple Docker files only to understand the instructions of CMD entry point with basic scenario. What is our expected output from this? Jajam working in MNC, that we are expecting, right? So see here, Docker executes Jajam working in MNC. Hope this scenario also clear, right? So I will come up with one more scenario as well here. Means I have couple of entry points instructions, couple of entry point instructions, and I will override. I will give arguments for CMD during run. So we'll see here what will happen. So I'm copying the Docker file here from the last. Here I'm giving entry point Sirisha Jajam working corporate employee in MNC. So here what is added? I am passing an argument. In earlier scenario I didn't pass any argument. Here I am passing argument. Docker run my image. I am passing argument like best luck for new opportunity. So this is the new scenario. One more scenario. What is the expected output from our conceptual understanding? Here there are a couple of entry points is there, couple of CMD is there. So and I am passing argument, right? So here what we are expecting? Jajam working, because only it will take last entry point, and CMD also last only, but during this runtime I passed new argument. So here what it will give? Best luck for new opportunity. This one it will give as output. See, we can see this one in another Chatgpt window. If you use same Chatgpt window also, no issues, but I'm just letting you guys with clarity without any confusion. So Docker run my image. I am passing best luck for new opportunity. So what is the output? From this, see guys, here we are expecting the output like Jajam working best luck for new opportunity. Alright, because we passed this argument, CMD will take in MNC will override by best luck for new opportunity. See what it will give. Jajam working best luck for new opportunity is the execute, right? See here, Jajam working best luck for new opportunity. Hope you guys understood. I will go through the both entry point and CMD with our scenario based. Might be video will take somewhere 3 minutes or 4 minutes, but understanding this conceptual will remind you in your brain forever, right? If once you understand completely. So in CMD we discussed if we have couple of CMD instructions, only the last CMD instruction will execute. It's clear, right? So CMD will be override. If you pass any argument during this run while you are running that image, then the CMD instructions will be override by that argument. This is one point. If we have couple of entry points and CMD, then the last CMD last in entry point instructions will execute if there are no arguments. If we pass any arguments, last entry point instruction only take, but CMD will be override. This is about CMD in 4 scenarios. I will recall once about entry point as well. Entry point also at the time of container start time only these instructions will execute in a Docker file. And if there are a couple of entry points, only the last entry point instruction will get as output. If you pass any arguments during runtime, then entry point will append, it's not override, but in the case of CMD it will be override. Here example we took like I given as thought during the runtime I passed 4. In CMD means the third will be replaced by 4, but in entry point it will append with the third 4. In the case if you have couple of entry points, if you pass any argument during this runtime, then the last entry point will append with the argument. Thus that is here software engineer working on DevOps in one MNC, and entry point will not override from the theme is like entry point is not override, CMD will be entry override. Here I proved in front of you guys only with sample Docker files by taking the help of Chatgpt. What is the expected output? I confirmed with you guys. Hope you guys understood about entry point and CMD. In the next video, I will come up with one more tool, or might I will take some of other interview questions of Docker. I will tell you guys. But this is part 2. Part 1 I will add in description. If you didn't watch, to go through that video. So this is today's discussion about CMD and entry point. Hope you guys subscribed this channel. If you feel it's very useful, just like and share with your friends as well. I will come up with further videos. Thank you everyone.